The conversation was, I believe, very useful. We did not just listen, but we heard each other, and I have reason to believe that the American side has become more aware of our position, which we have once again set out in detail and with concrete examples, based of President Putin's public speeches. That we reached. The first one, and probably the most urgent, and moreover, a not so difficult, is to ensure that the ambassadors of Russia to the United States and the United States to Russia are appointed as soon as possible. Secondly, we agreed to remove the handicaps that for many years, above all during the Biden administration over the past 4 years, have been imposed on our diplomatic missions, seriously hampering their work. The second agreement that we reached is that a process on the Ukrainian settlement will be set up in the near future. The American side will inform us who will represent Washington in this work, and as soon as we know the name and position of the appropriate representative, we will, as President Putin told President Trump, immediately designate our participant in this process. And thirdly, so in broad conceptual terms, we agreed to create conditions, as the processes related to the settlement of the crisis in Ukraine proceed, to create conditions for our cooperation to resume in full and expand into a variety of areas. There was a great interest, which we share, in resuming consultations on geopolitical problems, including various conflicts in different parts of the world, where both the United States and Russia have interests, and there was a great interest in removing artificial obstacles to the development of mutually beneficial economic cooperation.
Difficult journey, but an important one. And President Trump is committed to bringing an end to this conflict. And as he said when he campaigned for president, and he wants it to end in a way that's fair. He wants it to end in a way that's sustainable and enduring, not that leads to another conflict in 2 to 3 years. That's not going to be easy to achieve, but he's the only one in the world that can begin that process. Donald Trump is the only leader in the world that could initiate that process. And today was the first step in that process. European Union is going to have to be at the table at some point because they have sanctions as well that have been imposed. So, but I guess the point here is the goal is, and we agreed on what the goal is to bring an end to this conflict in a way that's fair, enduring, sustainable, and acceptable to all parties involved. What that looks like, well, that's what the ongoing engagement is going to be all about.
security guarantee for Ukraine, in Ukraine, that is capable of delivering what President Trump has pledged and says he wants, which is a durable peace. That requires an end to the Russian attack and no repeat of that in the future. The European countries have to play a leading part in that guarantee, but require a backstop from the US, because in the end, it is only the US that can provide the deterrence to Putin that will prevent him attacking again. And the detail of that is being developed. Keir Starmer will discuss that with President Trump when they meet shortly. But the one thing I'm not going to do is discuss details of the work that we're doing, the discussions we're having with allies and with the US, because the one thing I don't want to do is make Putin any wiser.
I know that there is a lot of speculation and assumption about whether in Paris we would talk about who, when, and if anyone will be ready to send their troops to Ukraine. As you know, when it comes to support from the Polish side, I think that the topic is resolved. Poland will support Ukraine as it has done so far, organisationally in accordance with our financial capabilities. In terms of humanitarian and military aid, we do not anticipate sending Polish soldiers to Ukraine. It is known that NATO will not directly get involved in Ukraine, but we cannot even think of building any alternatives to NATO. Also, when it comes to guarantees for Ukraine, I want to emphasize this very clearly, and I will also say it quite literally in Paris.
We have a responsibility to act.
We will continue to do everything we must do.
World War III has never been closer than it is right now.
People have seen that the system has been broken.
We have people on the ground working around the clock.